Maybe you could be
Yes,
our executive
please.
producer. We need an executive producer.
Yes. I saw Tim yesterday was switching. He was for VMix. That was pretty cool. to see.
Really?
All right, we're going live, Paul. You ready? Hello, everyone. Welcome to PTZOptics Live. I'm Tess Protesto. We stream live every Friday from YouTube at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, with the exception of this week. And I know I've said my spiel so many times this week, it's like on instant replay. But we are streaming this week live from the 2017 NAB Show. Paul is there right now, our Chief Streaming Officer, to bring you the latest and greatest in broadcast, AV, streaming, tech, gear, awesomeness. So let's take it over to Paul and see what he's got going on.
Hi, Tess. How are you doing today?
I'm lovely.
Today is the last day of the NAB show, and it's a short day, actually. It ends at 2 p.m. And a little bit sad, but every day of the show is an adventure and a fun time. And guess what? I have with me an executive producer, Cricket Wheeler, and she is from a company called Drop Into Digital, and we've been having some really interesting conversations from the producer side of things. And I wanted to just go ahead and introduce you and get your take on the show and what your company does.
Her mic's not working, Paul.
Okay, I said
Sorry about
just
that.
thanks for including me in your show. Drop Into Digital helps maximize
Paul's like, I'm done.
helps people create live streaming platforms based on the technologies that are available, bringing in brands and sponsors, and creating content that then can be pushed out through social and branded and monetized.
Great.
And we were talking about live streaming co-ops, which are popping up here and there.
What
and
a cool concept.
I know. So we were at the Las Vegas, it was called Podworks, and they do kind of like a gym membership where you can pay to be a member, but instead of going in to work out, there's actually cameras and microphones and producers and people to help you kind of learn how to live stream your show. And it's been a great place where small to medium-sized talk shows can kind of get their audience, because they can get the production value up at that point and at a low cost. We were just talking to Cricket about a system where, again, kind of a budget-conscious system, but with 4 cameras for a concert kind of entertainment area. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how your role is in that project?
Sure, it's called the Ring Studios. It's a music venue that will be opening in Sacramento within a couple of months. And a local investor decided that he really wanted to support local musicians. And he has a band himself, and he wanted a rehearsal space. And so he found an incredible old roller skating rink that they have completely refurbished and built out to have rehearsal studios, recording studios, and a performance area.
How cool.
So in the performance area is a small stage, and we wanted to have an in-house system where people could come in and live stream their performances. It will also be an event space rented out for corporate events and things like that. But in terms of supporting the music, so there's a branding team called Next Level Agency that's a part of it. They brought me in to create the live streaming platform and all of the video content that will be supported through the live streaming platforms. But with the in-house PTZOptics system that they're going to be purchasing and putting in, it's really an affordable way to live stream a lot of content on a regular basis. And so
Uh-oh. We lost Paul for a minute there. We've lost
music
audio.
through a lot of the, Spotify and those kinds of distribution, regular music distribution outlets.
Paul,
and
if
hopefully
you can
launching
hear
some
me?
new careers.
Yes, it looks like we're sending audio. I don't know what's.
I
Looks
don't
like
know. You're back
You
now,
can't hear us?
definitely. I
Okay.
can hear you now. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It did
Okay.
that fast forward thing.
You jinxed it. You jinxed it, Cricket. It's okay. So hopefully most of that was captured there. And this is just one example. And I think one of the prime examples is the affordability of PTZOptics, but still the 1080p quality, so you can create that content in a high level of video production. And I'm interested to. I don't think we've dug into really your role as an executive producer, because not everybody gets that. And we produce a lot of the stuff ourselves, have to do all the work, and it's a full-time job. So for a corporation, or Tess is laughing because she has to do a lot of it herself. So for an executive producer, can you tell us about the value that you bring to some of the larger shows or the larger video productions that need to have somebody kind of working all the angles, right? How are the brands going to come in? How are the sponsorships going to be taken care of? When are we going to do a commercial break? And how has that played out in the live streaming world? Because I know you have a television background, but now you're kind of trying to translate some of that industry knowledge into the live streaming world. I'm interested to see how that kind of world, those two worlds come together.
That's a large question. That's a very large question.
There's this strange transition happening right now, and it is interesting.
I think that the transition is well on its way. And my background is mostly live production in the Hollywood arena. So in fact, I've been on the forefront of streaming, and so seeing the distribution value of it since 2012. So I was producing a series for Animal Planet called Yukonuba Tournament of Champions, dog show. So I produced Animal Planet series for 10 years. And we had a large truck. We had 6 or 7 multi-cameras always that we rolled, even though we edited it down to a 3-hour show for Animal Planet. And then later, that show moved to ABC, so it was a 2-hour show for ABC. So we did this every single year for many years. And so as the executive producer, I'm just responsible for all of the elements coming together. So, and my saying is always, on the day of the show, if I actually have anything to do, I haven't done my job right. Because really, as an executive producer, you need to provide the tools and make the decisions so that everybody there on the set, on the crew, talent and everything else knows exactly what they're doing that day and has the tools to do a very successful job. And I don't care whether that's a rundown that's done by the production assistant or associate up to through the TD, through the truck crew, to the floor guys, to any of the technical people, to the audio guys who've got to know how, what the rotation on the RF mic. So that's all a part of, I think, an executive producer's job. And then rolling out the entire show, imagining the show as it's laid out from beginning to end, every single second accounted for, and then being responsible. I took it through post. So we had to deliver a show that was basically formatted for the network, down to the second, and satisfied both the American Kennel Club, Yukonuba, Procter & Gamble, and either Animal Planet or ABC. So during 2012, I kept pushing them we had the full multi-camera setup to live stream. So at that point, it was really Ustream's game and Livestream's game back then. And so, because you couldn't do Facebook Live, you couldn't do YouTube Live, none of that back then. And so we did Ustream, and we partnered with them, and we launched a terrific 2-day coverage of the event, and it got more than 1 million views because between the American Kennel Club and Yukonuba, it was wildly successful. And so they saw the value in all that, and then the next year, they canceled the TV show.
So I'm hearing a lot here, and I'm really, really interested in to hear how that knowledge and that workflow translates into the YouTube and Facebook world and the Instagram world that we live in. So let me just kind of ask you some questions to try to pull out some of the things I'm looking for here. So you've got all this great experience, and you've had millions of viewers back in the day before Facebook and YouTube. Now we're in the days, the time where YouTube and Facebook are kind of have the largest audiences of anyone, and they're really pushing live streaming into their platforms, and we're seeing success from YouTube stars, people who are innovating and getting there before everybody else. But they're also, a lot of times, the successful ones have a lot of high quality video production, and they're using multiple cameras. And so now I see some, and I want to just follow me here if you can. Now you're setting up a concert, right? And so it seems like, and now your role's changing slightly because now, it just for example, you had 6 cameras and a video truck and a huge crew, and with the way the technology's worked, you can have one person operating 4 cameras with a joystick, right? So one person on the joystick operating 4 cameras. You've maybe got one person doing the video switching because it's maybe a TriCaster, right? And they say that one person can operate a TriCaster. So you're down to a 2-person crew, and then and if I'm getting this right, you're kind of like the eyes above, you're the owl above. You've already made all the decisions on, let's say, the set design or the lower thirds or the creative control. And now, so I'm guessing as these projects go forward, there's probably a less amount of crew, right? Because you don't need to have a camera operator for every camera with the pan tilt zoom cameras. But you're probably reaching larger audiences on a lower budget in a nutshell. And can you kind of tell, is this your first project with the PTZ cameras, or can you just kind of explain how that, because I think the transition in general is going to be less manpower needed, lower cost equipment, but you can reach a larger audience. So the value is even increased more, less upfront budget, higher return on investment, depending on how you do it. And I'm also interested to hear how you help your customers, monetize their situations too. So I know I'm throwing a heck of a lot at you, but there's that transition there from the 6 camera operators and the huge TV truck at Hollywood to a refurbished roller rink where we're putting 4 PTZ cameras and a TriCaster in, and we're still creating a high-quality television production, but we're only spending less than $10,000. And like you said, we can produce content every day with just 2 people and the talent, as opposed to a 10-man crew. So just kind of explain to me how that transition has been like for you from the executive producer's standpoint.
It's important that I understand the capabilities of what's out there, and that's why I love to come to NAB, because if I can't see what can be done, then I really can't deliver for my clients or find the crew or the live production team that can deliver what we need. But I really believe that a lot of the productions can encompass every single level that you described. So for instance, I did a live streamed Geeky Awards a couple years ago. So we had a fly pack and we had the whole TriCaster setup. We only had, I think, 2 or 3 cameras. I had instead of a jib, I had a single handheld on a Ready Rig. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Ready Rig, which is a new camera stabilization system, and they're over at the DJI booth now with all of the Ronins. So, but anyway, so instead of they couldn't afford a jib, so we had that. So everything from this level, and then I had a single camera streaming through live view all of the red carpet interviews, and then they moved to the backstage. So we actually had 2 channels going at the same time, plus the fly. So you've got the single. You've got the fly pack, you've got the truck. So to me, it's maximizing all of the opportunities. So with the PTZ cameras, it does allow you to go down with crew and production. Labor is one of the most important or most expensive things on the budget. That line item is the most costly, especially when you get into long days. So I recently hosted or moderated a panel on streaming for the caucus for producers, writers, and directors in Hollywood. And so I had a couple of wonderful people on the panel who've been in the streaming environment for quite a while. And we had, I used a company called Absolute Live Productions in Los Angeles, and they are that middle group that you're talking about. And we had a PTZ camera for the audience shots. And so when we did the Q&A with the audience, it worked great. So it's really about maximizing all of the opportunities. And I think that a lot of the bigger content, the shows, I think that the people who want to own their content and monetize their content are not interested in the YouTube and the Facebook distribution model. But, however, you need to maximize and feed the content to those channels to drive back to your main platform that then you can monetize, whether it's through ads or subscription or pay-per-view or something like that. So it's the combination, it's the entire landscape, and that's what I try to do is to know what's available, and for every single client that I'm working with and developing that platform from them, using the different ones at different times as you roll out content.
Wow. And you know, sometimes it really does take an executive producer to look at that, because from Tess and I's perspective, you know, we're just streaming to YouTube every Friday, right, at 11 a.m. Pacific, and it's super fun. But from an executive producer standpoint, you're looking at it from such a higher level. Some of these conversations I've never had before, so I really appreciate you being here and sharing some of this information. Do you have any questions for Cricket, Tess?
Well, my questions are more selfish. I'm just very curious about what a day looks like for you, especially being such an established and experienced producer. I'm just so curious.
Well, a day at NAB, or a day on the set, or
I
a
don't
day
know.
preparing to launch the platform at the Rink Studios in Sacramento, or
First off, I don't feel
a
sorry
day-
for myself
yeah.
anymore about having to edit videos after hearing what your normal schedule looks like, about what goes into everything that you're in charge of. So I'm extremely impressed. And I wanted to tell you that everybody in the chat is very impressed with you. Byron says most impressive guest, very efficient.
Yeah, really.
Dave
And I
Edwards
just
says
came by
definitely a
today
good
just-
score for a guest.
Oh, that's very
Tom
nice.
says
Thank
another
you so much.
intelligent
Thank you
woman
so
on
much.
live streaming. So
Well, I'm tickled. Well, one of my clients is purchasing the PTZOptics, so it was important for me to know how to maximize, you know, the features, and that's why I stopped by the booth. So it was great timing.
yes.
Well, I love how thinking about it from maximizing opportunity standpoint. So one of the things that you mentioned that I would highly recommend, of course, we don't do what you do, so we're stepping into your shoes and putting your hat on and seeing what an executive producer thinks about when it comes to live streaming and monetizing and doing all of these things. And one of the things that you mentioned that I think is really powerful is let's say you're doing the red carpet and then there's a big show as they walk in. Maybe you live stream the celebrities walking in the red carpet on YouTube and Facebook, get that large appeal. And then when it comes to the time for the show, we're using a premium network with a paywall so that the content can be monetized. The other thing that you mentioned was possibly having 2 live streams going on at the same time. That's something that I have been very interested in, and I've actually done a little bit of playing around with. Some of you may have seen our show where we live streamed. You can live stream up to 6 different streams to YouTube on the same event. So the user can choose which stream they want to watch, right? And one of the best examples of this I've ever seen, now we've done it a few times just to show it works, but one of the best examples I've ever seen is SpaceX. Okay, they live stream the rocket launches. And they know that they've got a really techie engineering audience, and then they've got everybody else, right? So they actually host 2 completely separate live streams on YouTube. Now, they're not monetizing it. This is just a public thing. And you get to choose on the right-hand bar, I'd like to watch the technical broadcast or basically the hosted broadcast where they're explaining it in layman's terms. And so stuff like that, it's just mind-blowing what you can do.
I think that the larger streaming technologies that will offer multi-view options where the viewers can choose which camera angle they want to watch is obviously being used widely now in concerts. And I think as the technology just becomes easier and more reachable, that same feature will be offered in more and more platforms. There's so many incredible streaming platforms coming out, and they are adding features by feature by feature. And what the features that are important to me as a producer are those that, say, may minimize post, for instance. So if the live stream, if I can create a shareable clip instantly from a live stream and then send that to the social networks, you can do that clearly in the pre-show, but then during the live show, so you're instantly being able to create a highlight. And with these shows going on so long, you can obviously still push people back to the main event. So it's those features that I think it's important for me to understand and maximize that content to connect the social with the main content.
Yeah, no, that's another really great point. And why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about social, and then we do have Jim Davis on deck here, so we're going to roll the credits we roll the credits after 20 minutes, and so that's in about 2 or 3 more minutes. And then we roll the credits, and then it's a post-show. And then we do a giveaway, and there's the post-show. And we'll bring Jim in the post-show. I want to finish this up. This is a really interesting conversation, Cricket, and you've actually been our best guest so far. It is. It's
Thank
true.
you.
And, so, thank you so much for being here. Let's talk a little bit about the social media integration. So, and I'm going to give a plug to one of my friends upstairs, Easy Live it's called. You know Easy Live? Yeah, so what Easy Live does is it allows you to stream to them, and then they're in the cloud and they let you reach, like Joycaster or Switchboard Live, and stream to different platforms. But they also allow you to have in the cloud DVR clips. So you can just say, record this, record that, post to Twitter, post to Facebook. I think that, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because from a producer perspective, that's kind of like your job, you know? Like the other guy's streaming, the other guy's camera management, you're up at the top level saying, okay, that clip over there 30 seconds ago, I want that posted to Twitter now, and I want hashtag XYZ on there, and I want to follow up on that. That clip there, already get that to YouTube, that might go viral. You know, this clip here, go over there, and you're just, that's kind of what the executive producer's doing, is, you know, not only orchestrating the entire event from start to finish, and having input on every second, as you mentioned, but also simultaneously posting to the social media outputs, because you might want to be giving nuggets of the event for free, not the whole event that's being monetized. And then the final thing I'll ask you about, just in the social sphere here, is the live social media integrations. And Tess actually has right now a live social media integration at the bottom of our feed here. So that's pulling in from Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I can show you that after the show and how it works. It's called vMix Social, and there's other platforms that do it as well. Maybe Tess could even give us a little demo, Tess, if you wanted to. That would be kind of fun, maybe in the post-show.
vMix Social?
Because Tess is actually managing it. Yeah, I was thinking maybe like you could do a desktop capture of the browser input that shows all your queued things. We could show that to Cricket. But Cricket, that's the question in a nutshell, right? Social media integration from an executive producer's idea, posting out to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and then also bringing it. So you're posting out and you're ingesting in and showing live the tweets and everything from your perspective. I guess you're still learning about a lot of these integrations, but you're bringing up just so many good ideas.
Well, I love Easy Live. They were in Sprocket last year.
Yes.
And they are the ones that showed me that you could do that. And since then, I've talked to other streaming platforms about doing it, and so it's actually, I know it's going to be developed by 2 other streaming platforms, so they rock it. They really do. Closer, sorry. In terms of the social, what was the question?
So, have you, what do you think
Oh.
is more powerful?
Oh.
Ingestion of
Oh.
social media display on screen,
Uh-huh.
or immediately posting segments?
I think it's all important. I think the ingesting and posting the across the board. So what I like to do is to explain to people that if you're in a live stream, that the interactive component of it is what drives people's engagement longer, and they're going to stay engaged, and then that's just a return on your investment for whatever the purpose is you're doing the live stream. So we're setting up a live stream that we're going to do May 12th from a doula organization in Sherman Oaks, California, that's called Beanie Birth. And the sponsor is Nature's Energy that has prenatal vitamins. And we're distributing also on Mom Life TV, so as well as all of the social. So we're using Switchboard to go out to all of the destinations at the same time. And we're sending over to AMP Live to boost the audience, right? And in the entire time, we'll be taking questions from all of the Facebooks, from the Beanie Birth, Mom Life TV, and Nature's Energy Facebooks, integrating it. And so all through the live stream, so I'm producing the live stream, so we'll have different sections, different content, and each time there'll be Q&A throughout the whole thing, where we actually stop and interact with the audience and hopefully keep them on longer for engagement purposes. And so that's the way I like to integrate it. So, and at the end, of course, everything will be clipped and posted for a very, very long time around certain subjects and themes. So that's I guess an example.
So you keep bringing up, and Tess, we'll have to extend the show a little bit, and then we'll roll the credits after this question, I guess, because you keep bringing up really good points, and we love to hear from like, you're not exactly an end user, but you're basically the end user's ambassador. Like, you want it all to work for the end user, and that's why this conversation has been so productive, I feel like. And I've never talked to an executive producer in the streaming space, so I don't know where you guys all are, but maybe we should set up a second. We have you on the show again, possibly. So here's my question. So I got 2 questions for you. The one question is so you're working with sponsors. How do you keep the sponsors happy? What are the sponsors looking for from a return on investment standpoint? And then the other question, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about Amp Live, because I've heard about it, but I've never used it, and I would love to hear about that as well.
In terms of keeping sponsors happy, it really depends on what their mission statement is, because some of them are in it just for branding purposes, for image, and associating with a certain kind of content, whether it's educational or entertainment. They will sponsor that just basically to reach their potential customers, but it's more of a brand image. Then, of course, you have the direct sales. And so many of the features now in the live streaming, with just a click, you can either go to their portal for retail sales, or you can just identify the products with a layer. In some of the posted content, you can click on it, and it will tell you exactly where it came from and where to purchase it. So it really depends on what their mission statement is. We were working with Yukonuba Dog Food, which it's no longer sponsoring the American Kennel Club shows, but they were just interested in the perpetuation of the purebred dog. And so a lot of the content that we created for them was to really explain the value of having a purebred dog. And then, of course, the perfect purebred dog was healthy because of the food they ate. So it wasn't direct sales. We didn't push direct sales through that at all. But obviously it's available with the new technologies. Oh, Amp Live is a great service. They were at Sprocket last year here. And so you basically are able to guarantee views. And the views are not random and 2-second clicks, that kind of thing. The valuation of a view is a very high standard with Amp Live. And what they do is they take your content and syndicate it out across a network of publishers. So in the old days, the way you'd have agencies buying ads across a selection of magazines or newspapers or things like that, they, in essence, take your live stream and place it on publishing sites. So if you're streaming something, we'll be streaming the Nature's Energy prenatal vitamins, and we are going to use Amp Live, and so we will be pushing the live stream out to whether it's Huffington Post or one of the parenting magazines. So they have an entire retail or online presence publishing that we publish the actual live stream to. So when anybody opens up that publisher site, they see the live stream. And so you're guaranteed views. But they're quality views. It's a very niche audience.
And clearly, the last thing I guess we would end on is clearly you would do that because of the fact that live video is something special about it, right? There's something different about it that is working.
Right. And that is that you can be interactive, and also it's organic in nature. I think with all of the plethora of content that's been generated from YouTube and Facebook and everything else now, people are interested in authentic content. If it's too polished, it's too live, it's too dramatic, and it's not real, it doesn't hold the audience anymore. And so that's what we try to do, is create, and I think Live does that. So Live offers authentic and interactive, and that right now is where I think you get the best return on your investment, whatever the investment is.
Well, we're in a good spot then, Paul.
Wow. Wow. We have to roll the credits. Cricket, thank you so much for stopping by for that interview. I would like to have you on the show again. Tess is taking notes, so that could have changed the outcome of our show in the future. But let's have you on the show again if you have time. We can interview you. I want to stay in touch. Make sure you get my card before you leave, and we'll go on to the post show. We have a giveaway to announce.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for watching. Headed to the giveaway.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming! And now it's time to announce this week's live technology giveaway winner. As noted in the contestant rules, all winners must